Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a random world generation inside of Unity. Now I'm going to be making this in 3D, however everything should work in 2D exactly the same. Alright, so I have a pretty empty scene here with only a directional light, a main camera and a ground object. And I have some models here, which I will leave a link to in the description. So the first thing you're going to need to do is grab all the models or sprites that you want to be randomly generated. This don't have to be buildings, but can be basically anything. So I want all of these buildings and these houses to be randomly generated. So I'm going to create a new folder, which I'm going to call prefabs. And in here, I'm going to just drag and drop all of these buildings. So now that I've done that, I'm going to completely delete the object. And the next thing we're going to do is create an empty game object, which I'm going to call map generator. I'm going to reset its transform. And gonna create a empty game object underneath it, which I'm gonna call spawn locations. So this is going to be where all of the buildings are going to be spawning. Now I'm gonna create a 3D object cube, and I'm just gonna call this spawn location 1. And I'm gonna delete the box collider, and I'm gonna be removing the mesh renderer later, but for now I'll just do this. And I'm just gonna move this, I'm gonna copy and move this all around the scene, so you can do the same to where you want to spawn your objects. Alright, so once everything is set, we're gonna be creating a new script. So first I'm gonna create a new folder, which I'm gonna call scripts, and this is not mandatory, but I do it to keep everything organized. I'm gonna create a new C# script called map generator. I'm gonna drag and drop it onto our map generator. I'm gonna open it up. So let's remove the start and the update method, and I'm gonna start off by creating a serialized field private game object array called building prefabs. So basically what this does, it creates an array, so multiple prefabs of the buildings that we're going to be spawning. It's going to be private, so other scripts can access this, and it's going to be a serialized field so that we can set this in the inspector without having to make it public. Serialized field private transform array, which I'm going to be calling spawn locations. And then I'm going to head back into Unity to set both of these variables. So under our map generator, I'm going to be locking it. I'm going to be going to our prefabs, and I'm going to drag and drop all of these buildings into our building prefabs variable. And then I'm going to go under map generator, and I'm grabbing all of these map locations or spawn locations and dragging them onto our spawn locations. Then I'm going to unlock the thing. And I'm gonna go in here and disable all the mesh renderers. So under our start method, I'm just gonna call generate, so that otherwise it won't generate in the beginning. Then I'm gonna create a for loop, so for int I is equal to 0, I is less than spawn locations dot length I plus plus. So basically what this will do, it will loop over every single spawn location, and then all the code that we're going to put in here is going to happen for every single spawn location. Now I'm going to say int random, which stands for random number. It's going to be equal to random.range between 0 and building prefabs.length. So basically the random number will be equal to any of the building prefabs. And then I want to say game object building is equal to instantiate. And basically what instantiate does is it will take 3 values: the object you want to spawn, the position you want to spawn it, and then the rotation. So I'm going to say building prefabs random, and then I'm going to say spawn locations I dot position, and then I want them to keep the original rotation. So I'm going to say building prefabs dot random dot transform dot rotation. And then in order to keep everything looking clean in the scene, I want to say building.transform.setParent is going to be spawn locations I. And there's one more thing to do, well actually two. First I want to say void update. I want to say if input.get key down keycode.space. So every time we press space, I want to say generate, so that we can generate multiple maps. However, now we will get the problem that it will spawn multiple buildings on top of each other. So in the for loop, I want to say if spawn locations I dot get dot child count is greater than 0. So if it has more than 0 children underneath it, then I want to do something. I say destroy spawn locations I dot get child 0.gameObject. So basically, what we now do is for every spawn location, we're going to check if the spawn location already has a child. If it does, then it's going to destroy the child, and then we're going to select a random building. We're going to spawn that building at the spawn location, and then finally we're going to set its transform to the spawn location. We're going to set the parent to the spawn location. And here you can see that we have a bunch of random buildings. If we press space, it will generate others, and again, and again, and again, and again, and they won't spawn into each other. And if I do this, you can see it better. So you can use this in any way you like. Obviously you can make it in 3D, but you can also make it in 2D. You can add buildings like this, but you can also have things like mountains and hills and trees and all of that. You can even have things like enemies spawned in like this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.